Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I am just Shani and today we're going to be watching TikTok scary stories. The product of the day is in the description. Go ahead and check that out as well. And while you're doing stuff, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like, and ring that bell so you'll be notified every time I post a video.
Have you ever heard of something called the not deer? Because that's what we're talking about tonight. The not deer is a cryptid, we'll call it, because I don't know what else to call it, that supposedly lives mainly in Appalachia. So anywhere where the Appalachian Mountains are, that's its home. It's a creature that looks like a deer from far away, but the closer you get to it, the more things that you start to see wrong with it. That can be multiple antlers, eyes in the front of its head instead of the side of its head, limbs that bend the wrong way, and sometimes deer that walk on hind legs. Now, there are deer that get up on their hind legs so that they can grab something off of a tree to eat. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about deer that walk on their hind legs like a human does. Most of the people who have encountered this are driving on a road at night through a remote area and they see a deer and they're like, oh, I need to slow down. There's a deer and it might jump out in front of me. And then the closer they get to it, the more things that they start to see are wrong with it. And everyone describes this feeling of dread, like they know something is wrong. The reason they're called not deer is because you know that's a deer, but it doesn't look like a deer. The best way I can describe it is if you are looking at something that you know has always looked like a certain thing, but there's just something off about it and you can't place it. Now, I haven't heard or seen any stories where this deer has done anything to harm people. It's just seeing something like that and you don't know what it is because it's not natural. So if you're ever out in the woods in the night, make sure you are keeping a lookout for the not deer.
There's a lot of deer here, especially in the country where I'm from. Lot of deers, and it's just be like, why there deers out, especially when it's not deer season, like when it's deer season, like, you know, deer hunting season, and then like when it's hibernation season where they're supposed to be asleep. I don't even think they hibernate anymore. That's not even a thing because they're year around. I see deers all the time now. One time I was driving, I think it was a few weeks ago, I was just driving down the street and I was editing one of these dang videos because that's what I do. That's why sometimes they be late. You be like, why she still ain't put out a video? Because I'm editing and driving. I don't do this at home. Don't edit and drive. So I was editing one of these videos and I was driving down the street and I was kind of going fast down this, you know, this country road because, like, even though we live in the city, country outskirts, so it's like, this is North Carolina. Pretty much everywhere is country. Like, they try to make it city, but it's all country basically. So I'm driving down this back road and it's like dark, and then all of a sudden I look up and this deer flies in front of me, flies in front of my car. Like, I have never seen a deer run that fast before. And remind you, I'm going down up, this is a side back road, dark road, so you know I'm busting 55. Busting 55. You're telling me that this deer was going faster than 50. Literally, it was nobody but God, because it literally, this is my car. This is this deer darting in front of me. Like, and I'm looking and it's just like, oh snap. And I look to the side because I just see this deer fly in front of me. And I see another deer on the side, like waiting, like hush stop, like waiting for its time to go. And I was just like, what? So yeah. I feel like maybe that was a not deer. I don't know. I just don't know how fast deers can run. Can they run faster than 55 miles per hour? Because literally, like, what? It's like, it was big and it was fast, and I was just thanking God because, bro, that would have been nasty. that deer would have been in my front seat sitting beside me. Like, that's like, it would have been nasty. So yeah, don't edit and drive. Watch out for deers, especially if you're in North Carolina. Watch out for deers. Watch out for deers because they're just there. They just be running. And apparently, they run super fast. So yeah, look out for that.
Get ready with me while we talk about the scary Appalachian Mountains. Now, I am back and I am here to stay. But without further ado, let's get into the scary Appalachian Mountains in the, I would say, eastern region of the United States. Located in the eastern region of the United States, the Appalachian Mountains have been here for about 1 billion years. It's one of the oldest formations in the United States, and a lot of locals there have claimed to have had strange or paranormal encounters, especially at nighttime. Now, honestly, when you think about it, you have something that's been pretty much untouched for the past 1 billion years. Of course, there's going to be creatures and predators up there lurking of unknown origin that have been here before us. And that's kind of horrifying that there are people actually living amongst those things. Now, back onto the subject of these creatures of unknown origin, the Appalachian Mountains actually have rules if you are visiting or if you are living there. One is keep your blinds closed at night, do not open the doors. Don't sing or whistle in the woods because I believe it can invite something in with you, or it'll lead something to follow you around. Don't hike after dusk, or after dusk. Don't be out in the woods. Also too, if you hear a voice far away, that actually means it's close to you, or if you hear something close to you, that means it's far away, something along those lines. But there are so many rules once you are up there, but most of the rules are surrounding nighttime. Now, someone even posted a TikTok of a spirit or cryptid literally mimicking their voice inside of their home or outside of their home. And I don't know how that spirit or whatever the hell it was got inside, but it was horrifying to watch. I was like, fuck no. You would never catch me living in that region or visiting. It is horrendous. Now, speaking of cryptids and whatnot, I know the US, we have a lot of national parks here, obviously, and the state I'm in, it is very widely known for its mountains and the parks that we have here. It's a very outdoorsy state. And my mom was watching an episode of American Horror Stories, and it was talking about people that go missing in these national parks. And it terrified her. It spooked her out really bad. And there's actually a documentary called Missing 411 that talks about how people mysteriously vanish in certain regions. And there's even a map, I'll include it, and it's just really weird. And whenever there have been attempts for searching for these missing people, somehow there's problems with the weather and just a bunch of weird coincidences that disrupt the search parties for the missing people. And it's just terrifying to think about, I guess. And I mean, we are also on native land too. In native culture, there's creatures such as skinwalkers, where skinwalkers are actually witches that disguise themselves as animals, and they basically hunt you down. And they're very common on land that was once native land. I went through the canyon one time, and there was this one specific area. I can't put my finger on why, but when me and my friend went up there, it freaked us out. I even went with my boyfriend at the time, and he was spooked as well. And it scared me because he usually doesn't get scared. But this area was really dark, and for some reason it just really stuck out to us, and we booked it out of there. We also have a place out here called Skinwalker Ranch. And for those of you who don't know what it is literally a place plagued with like crazy paranormal phenomenon. Ugh, I can't even talk right now. But it is very spooky. They actually have it so heavily guarded now, like you can get shot if you try and trespass on the property. So I kind of want to go with some friends and like report back on here what happened. So, well, I'll keep you guys updated with that. But anyways, this is our finished look. This video, I realized it kind of seems all over the place because I have so many ideas on like what I want to talk about in my videos, but it's been such a long time since I posted due to an uncomfortable living situation I was dealing with. But now I'm going to be posting regularly again. So comment like true crime or scary things you guys want me to delve into. I know a while ago people were wanting me to talk about urban legends from different countries, so I may turn that into like a little series and like delve into that some more. But anyways, I hope you guys kind of enjoyed this. This is like my little comeback video. And I hope you have a good day.
Honey, we just learned something. We just learned what SWs are. I never, but she was just like, it's just witches. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Maybe it's not true. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. Comment below if you know. But yeah, friend, Appalachian Mountains. We've heard a lot about them and a lot of rules. I've seen a lot of videos about all the rules. I went to school in the mountains and I didn't know any of this stuff. So I've done a lot of stuff. I used to run at like nighttime. Yeah. After work or after I got off of work, I would go run in mountains. So yeah, glad everything's good. God is always protecting me and always will, honey. So yeah. The freckles though. Okay, freckles. Hey, how you doing, freckles? Yes. But yeah, don't be alone in the Appalachian Mountains by yourself hiking, especially after dusk. And I don't like whistling. That's one of my pet peeves. I absolutely dislike whistling. My mom's a whistler. Yeah, it kind of crushed her soul a little bit when I was just like, you can't do that. You cannot. Stop. No. Don't like it. But it's just a frequency thing because I have big ears and high-pitched noises, ringing. It doesn't agree with big ears. We got satellites on the side of my head. So yeah, don't like whistling.
So did you guys see the before and after videos of like everyone going, this is me before entering and then this is me after entering? And they're talking about the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. I've been twice. I have a story for each time. I want to preface this by saying that place is real. That place is freaking real. I don't care if you don't believe in the supernatural. It's real. The first time I fucked around and found out, brought something home with me. Did it fuck with me? It tried to. But then it started giving someone else nightmares. Let me get started. Okay, so first time I go to Zach Bagans Haunted Museum, we had a really cool time. I thought it was so cool. I've always loved the supernatural, the macabre. I've always really been drawn to it. And any type of haunted museum that you have to sign a waiver to get into, I was on board. So the first time I went, it was for my cousin's birthday because she loved ghost adventures growing up. So we go and it was actually pretty cool. None of us had some really crazy experiences, but there were two rooms that really made me feel uncomfortable and had really, really negative energy. The first room that really fucked with me was the Dybbuk box room. At this point, the Dybbuk box room only had just the plexiglass covering the Dybbuk box with salt around it and sage, and it wasn't how it is current day if you've been recently. It's like souped up, the level of spiritual protection Zach has placed on the Dybbuk box. But we're in the Dybbuk box room, and as I'm in there, I could just feel the heavy energy of that room. It felt as though someone was sitting on my chest. And when you're in that museum, you're in a group of about, I think at most like 8 to 10 people. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there was about 8 to 10 people there. We were not the only people in our group. And so we're sitting in our group. We're all crowded into this room. And I whisper to my aunt in the most quiet whisper that I felt like I could barely breathe because it felt like something was sitting on my chest. And the tour guide went through the whole story of the haunted Dybbuk box. And then she says, I'm going to leave the room now because every time I come in here, I feel like something's sitting on my chest. As soon as that happened, me and my aunt looked at each other. We're like, we're going to follow you out the room. And we did follow her out the room. Now, the second room was a room that I actually have never truly stepped foot in. My body won't let me. And that is the very last room where they have the staircase from the demon house. That room. Okay, so in that room, the very first time they go to tell the whole story about it, yada, 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 and they have this staircase and then a replica of what the demon that Zach allegedly saw, yada, yada, yada. I went to go step into that room. That room felt so disgusting to me, worse than the Dybbuk box room. I said, oh, hell no. I literally said it just like that, and I stepped right back out. Everyone else went into the room, walked out. Fine. We drive all the way back. This is from Vegas, driving to Arizona. The night we get home, I couldn't sleep right. I was like, I'm not scared of ghosts. I'm not scared of spirits. Why am I not sleeping right? I knew something was trying to fuck with me. So I was like, you know what? Forget this. The next day I go and my stepmom asked me about our trip. And I tell her in as much detail as possible about the Zach Baggins Haunted Museum. She calls me the next day, tells me the entire night after I told her that story, she had nightmares. The entire night where she was trapped and like could not speak. And she's like floating around, desperately trying to get help. And my husband was in the nightmare. I was in the nightmare. And she just had these nightmares. And she's like, fuck that museum. I didn't even go to the museum. And yet it still gave me nightmares. All right. I'm already like 4 minutes in. And if you, should I tell about the second time? So the second time we go to the museum, this is just me and husband. We go. Just the two of us in our group. And we actually had to leave early from our tour because unfortunately we had another appointment that we got to get to. And when we booked our tour, the only spot available was right before this appointment. And so we kind of overbooked. And so we knew that we wouldn't be able to do the full tour. So we were going to leave the last few rooms out. But I remembered that demon room. So I was like, I'm cool with that. It's fate. Didn't matter. We get into the cowboy room. The room, it's like one of the first rooms you get into. It's not a scary room whatsoever. He has like, I think it's like a diary from Wyatt Earp, different things like that. And we're sitting in the cowboy room, and I kid you not, I get tapped on my shoulder. My very first time ever feeling a spirit physically touch me was in the cowboy room. I was so excited. I felt so lucky. But on the second time, I knew what I was getting into at that point. So I had already prepared ahead of time with items to protect me, protect my husband, and cleanse ourselves afterwards. Did not matter. Because when we went to our appointment, it was like the lady that we were dealing with, something switched up in her. I don't even know what happened. She freaked out at us. In all reality, I probably could have complained to her boss, but we were so kind of caught off guard at the way that she treated us afterwards that I was like, are the two related? That the energy that we took with us from the museum that would cause her to act so freaking irrationally cuckoo cray? Like, I don't know, but that's my theory. But yes, the second time I was actually tapped at that museum. Now they do have overnight tours, and I've told, like, my husband wants to go on an overnight tour to the museum, and we've been to a lot of haunted places, but I don't know if I'm willing to go back. I feel like there's so much hype around it at this point, and when you do that, negative, icky entities like to feed off of it and drain off of you. And when you think of ghosts in the spirit realm, you got to think of humans here. You don't just trust strangers, right? So why would you trust a random spirit on the other side of the veil? You have to be very cautious and careful because you never know who you can get. chances are you're not going to run into anything nasty. Chances are you're not going to run into anything that's going to try to attach to you and try to make your life a living hell. But you never know. Just like chances are you're not going to run into a mass murder, right? But you never know. If you're into that stuff and you know how to spiritually protect yourself, I would recommend it. If you're afraid of that stuff and you're just looking to get scared, be prepared, because you never know what you can take with you.
Honey, no. No. I didn't even know this was a thing in Las Vegas. When I was younger, that might have been a thing I wanted to visit. But now that I'm older and very much more mature and wiser, no. That's wow. She just told the story to whoever that was. It was just like, oh, okay, well, we're going to transfer through the phone. Nope, stop. See, this is what we not going to do. Y'all stay prayed up, honey. Yeah, stay prayed up. Watching these videos, hearing people know. That's what we not going to do. God got us. Because, honey, that was wow. You walk into the room and you feel heavy. You feel like something on your chest, and people share that experience with you. She went back a second time. After the first time and the experience, and apparently something followed her back, she went back again. She was like, oh, I'm prepared this time. It touched her, and she was excited, like, oh, lucky me. Girl. No. Not lucky you. That's not okay. This strange ghost, as you says, this stranger ghost just put his hands on you. No, that's not okay. Stop it. Stop. Girl, no. Your husband talk about he want to go by himself. We're not married anymore. Cause no, we're not doing this. This is what we're not. This is a we thing now. You can't do this by yourself, because if you bring something back, it's a we thing here. So no, you can't. I can't even tell you to go by yourself. Like, no, you're not going at all. Sorry, non-negotiable. Subscribe.